So I feel like each day as I wake up too, like my body changes. I don't know what my body's going to do. You know, I need to rely on my personal care attendants to get me in and out the bed every day, helping me get dressed. Whereas I used to be able to do that without a problem before.
Hey guys, Dr. Viv here, and welcome again on Reset with Dr. Viv. Today I have got a very special guest, Keisha Greaves. And Keisha is an inspirational speaker and founder of Girls Chronically clothing. She created Girls Chronically clothing brand to help inspire and motivate others in the disability community. She has been featured on the Today Show newsletter, Good Morning America, and ABC Chronicles. And I'm so happy to have Keisha in the house. But before we get to Keisha, guys, if you're not already following me on YouTube, if you're not already subscribed to the YouTube channel or subscribe to the podcast, like, guys, what are you waiting for? Like, hit subscribe, come on. And if you're not already connected with me on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, or even LinkedIn, guys, I love connections. So please reach out. All links are in description. Wow, Keisha, how are we doing?
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me on your show.
It's the pleasure is all mine. You know, thank you for, coming on and, being happy to share your story, even to encourage others and inspire hope, even through what has been really a tough time for many people this period with
yes
and all. Keisha, you have a very interesting story.
Yes.
You were diagnosed with muscular dystrophy. I hope I pronounced that properly.
Yes, you did.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes, there are words that you're just like, did I say that right?
Yeah. I had a hard time saying it at first, too, when I was diagnosed. I was saying it all wrong.
I don't feel bad then. You were diagnosed with muscular dystrophy in your 20s. Yes. Tell me all about that and the impact it had on your life.
Sure. So I was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy. It was around 2010 when I was actually receiving my master's in graduate school. So it wasn't even something I was born with. I just honestly started to get really weird symptoms within my body. I would just repeatedly just be falling and my leg would kind of give out on me and I would lose my balance and fall to the floor. Wow. So the first two times that, I fell, I was just brushing it off, thinking no big deal, like maybe I just need to exercise. It will all go away. But it was one time in particular that it was like a really bad fall when I had at the supermarket and I was with my mom and sister. And I was just walking and my leg again buckled and it gave out on me. And it's like when I fell, it's not like I could get myself back up. It was kind of like a dead weight where my body just fell completely to the ground. And I couldn't just get up. I needed, my mom and sister couldn't even get me up. I needed two strangers that were in the parking lot at that time to help me up because that's how of a heavy dead weight I was. So once they picked me up, then my mom was like, something's not right. Maybe let's go see an orthopedic because we're thinking maybe it's something in the feet. So then we go see an orthopedic out here in Boston at Tufts Medical Hospital. And then I always remember I'm in the examine room. Two guys come in to examine me. They kind of asked me to raise my right leg, raise my left leg, and the legs would not move. Like the right leg was pretty much just still. Left leg maybe just went up a little bit. And they just kind of both looked at each other like, I think you need to see a neurologist because this looks like something more neuromuscular. So I'm like, okay, still not thinking anything of it, still la-di-da. So I go see a neurologist and then, we just went straight to it. We did several testings, EMG, MRI, EKG. The most interesting one was the muscle biopsy, where they took a piece of muscle from out of my right leg to test it. So for that, I was not even put to sleep. All they did was numb pretty much around my leg. So I was seeing as everything got done, when the muscle was taken out, I'm pretty much watching everything. So it was pretty much interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. And so then from that muscle biopsy, that's when, the doctors determined, she called me. I always remember that phone call. And she's like, Keisha, you have muscular dystrophy. And that changed my life.
before you talk about how it changed your life, for those who are probably listening or watching and wondering what is muscular dystrophy, or what is it? Because I know you're sitting, so people don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So as of right now, I am sitting in my wheelchair. I've been in my wheelchair for probably about over a year now. So when I was first diagnosed, I was more like, able-bodied. I'm able to, walk without no mobility aids. I was driving. I'm still able to be more independently. But with the muscular dystrophy, it's like with muscles, they do deteriorate in your body over time, and it does progress. And this was something the doctors did tell me from the beginning, like, your disease, muscular dystrophy, it will progress over time. Like you will eventually probably be in a wheelchair. And, and eventually it did. It definitely took some time. So, yeah, so that's why I'm in a wheelchair now. But, yeah, it's a part of muscles. There's different forms like Duchenne, spinal muscular atrophy. But my type is called limb-girdle muscular dystrophy. So my type pretty much affects pretty much the whole bodies, where it may be difficult for me to raise my right arm up. For instance, getting dressed is difficult. For me to pull out my hand to maybe give you a handshake might be a little difficult. And putting my arms out to give you a hug is a little difficult as well because of the weakness in the limbs and arms.
Wow. I'm not even going to try and repeat. I'm not even going to try and repeat those words. Where am I going to start? Liquor? What did you call it again?
Yes. I know it's a lot. And I feel like I tell people I'm still learning about this each and every day. I tell people it's like I'm living with it. I've learned to accept it now, but it definitely took some time. So I feel like each day as I wake up too, like my body changes. I don't know what my body's going to do. I need to rely on my personal care attendants to get me in and out the bed every day, helping me get dressed. Whereas I used to be able to do that without a problem before. So that's totally, been challenging for me for quite some time now.
I can imagine. And what did they say costed or, could have?
That's the thing. There's really no cost for it. They do say it's in the family, hereditary, but nobody in my family seems to have it. But they did say someone in your family could possibly be a carrier, but then you're the one who happened to get it. Like my mom, sister, or dad could be a carrier, but then I just happen to be the one stuck with it. So far, we haven't gotten any. I would like my family to get tested to see if my sister or mom could possibly be a carrier, because it would be kind of interesting. But either way, even if I find out they're a carrier, not really going to do anything, because with the muscular dystrophy, there is no treatment or cure. The only treatment really is going to physical therapy, and that's what I try to do. Of course, before the pandemic, I was going to aquatic therapy, which is going to pool therapy, which is awesome because in the pool, I feel like I have control. I'm like a mermaid in there, and I'm having a great time. But of course, due to the pandemic, that's when the pools and, the facility has shut down at the moment.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Wait, you really begin to see the impact of the pandemic because it extends to all.
Yeah.
And tell me, because I can't imagine. Let me not say I can imagine. Because I can't imagine. I don't wear those shoes. But how did you bring yourself to accept this change and move past the fact that you now had to be in a wheelchair? How did you do it?
It was a lot. It was definitely a lot. I was in denial forever. When that doctor called me that day and says, Keisha, you have muscular dystrophy, I said, who was she talking to? She's clearly called the wrong person. She didn't call me. I don't have muscular dystrophy. So, of course, I started researching, doing all these things online. There's no treatment, no cure. So it's of course, I just shut down. I'm not telling any family and friends. When friends call me to hang out, I make up any excuse in the book because I'm I don't want to go out. I don't want to have to explain or tell people what's going on in my body because I felt like my body betrayed me. I felt like what is happening? This can't be right. Every time I went back to the doctors for a follow-up, I thought the doctor was going to say, oh, Keisha, we got the wrong test results. You don't have muscular dystrophy. You have something totally else, or you don't have anything at all. But no, we made a mistake. But that wasn't the case. So, of course, it definitely took time. And then as time progressed, I started to maybe start using a cane. And even when I went on job interviews, because I worked in the retail field, of course, for fashion, I would tell them, because they would see me walking with a cane, I would say I sprained my ankle or I was in a car accident. So I said everything but muscular dystrophy, because I felt like if I said muscular dystrophy out loud, that made it real for me. So it was kind of whatever came to my head at that moment. Oh, I sprained my ankle. I was in a car accident. So I was in denial for quite some time. So it definitely took some time getting used to. But it was one day I started to, my friend was like, why don't you start writing a blog and start sharing your story? And I thought, oh, why? You know, because I'm like still in my head, I don't have muscular dystrophy. Why am I going to write a blog? So then I was like, all right, I'll listen. So then I just opened up my laptop and I started writing out my symptoms, just like how pretty much I'm telling you right now, and everything about the falling and going to the doctors, different testing. And it took that moment as I started typing and saying it out loud, was I'm like, I have muscular dystrophy. That's crazy. It's like, never mind what the doctors were saying. It took for me to, you know, actually type it and say it out like, I have muscular dystrophy. That's crazy. So then once I posted that on like social media on Facebook, and I got so much great feedback. And these are like friends that I spoke to on a regular basis. And they're like, Keisha, I never even knew that what was going on. Because like a lot of people don't know, people with disabilities, some of them are invisible. Some of them, you can tell they have a disability. Some of them you cannot. So you never know what somebody's dealing with. Because like I was just pretty much normal. I wasn't walking with a cane, anything, still driving. So looking at me, you wouldn't be like, oh yeah, she has something wrong. You know, so you wouldn't be able to tell, but it definitely took some time getting used to. So once I wrote that blog, that kind of opened up the door a little bit, like maybe a little crack, but not 100%. And so I just, you know, was still in denial, but it just definitely took some time getting used to, because I always had a passion for fashion, because I got my undergraduate degree in fashion design and merchandising from Framingham State University.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Wow, this is deep, because I like I said, I'm not going to say I can imagine, but I can only imagine that must really have been a tough process for you. And how would you say it? We're going to come to your passion right now, and how you were able to turn that pain into purpose. But you know, how would you say it has, the whole process that it has impacted on your life or relationships and things like that? Because, you know, I know a lot of people, when things happen, they begin to think, oh dear, these are the things I want in life, but it's not coming my way. And I don't know what your status is now, for example, but like, what sort of thoughts did you go through, and how has it impacted on your life?
Sure. It was still like definitely a shock. I'm just like, where did this come from? Like I mentioned, nobody in my family seems to have it. I'm like, the doctors have this wrong. What is muscular dystrophy? You know, like, what is this? Like, I never heard of this before in my life. So I'm like, how do I have it? So it was like all these different things just going through back and forth in my head. And I'm just pretty much shut down, because it's like I was not accepting or realizing like, yes, this is what I have. Although every time I went to the doctors, you know, she's like, you know, you have muscular dystrophy. Like, you know, if you can start maybe going to physical therapy. And I'm like, all right, you know, but still I'm like, I think maybe she has the wrong test or something. So I would say, like, I tell people, I feel like I just came out of denial like the other day. That's what it feels like to me. So, and I'm just taking it day by day. And like I tell people, I don't have control over this muscular dystrophy. This has control over me. So I just have to wake up every day and see what it wants to do.
Wow. And for a lot of like young people, or how do I put it now? Women, we love ourselves.
Yes.
We want to see ourselves as this super people, and we feel like, oh dear, for example, like people of the opposite sex will judge us by how we look. You know, for me, I have got a scar on my face, and I got that when a ceiling fan cut through my face.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Ouch.
And that happened when I was 13 or so.
Oh,
and I
wow.
imagine that when it happened initially, now it's a lot, it's gone, it's better, it's, you know, it's sort of blended in with my skin. But for me as a young person, you know, first of all, I went through a period where, you know, people laughed at me. I was called names for it, or, you know, people, I had mixed opinions around it, but I know that I felt, well, I say ugly, because this thing had been on my face. And I remember saying to my father at some point, oh, Dad, when I grow up, I want to do plastic surgery to to cover that, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm thankful for the journey, and I don't care. It's part of my story, right?
Yeah.
It's part of my story, and I know that I'm beautiful, even if people don't, whatever.
Yeah. Right.
But that was a journey for me, and to accept it, because in general, women, we're very conscious. We're very conscious, and we care, in quotes, what how we are seen, or, even from a relationship point of view, how have you dealt with it?
I'm sure it's definitely been hard. Like what I say, people with disability stigmas, they think because if someone has a disability, we don't date, we don't go out, we have fun. And yes, we still do all those things. And everybody does deal with things differently. Mm-hmm. Yes, for me, when I was first diagnosed, I didn't want to hang out with nobody. I wasn't thinking about dating or this and that. I'm trying to figure out what's going on in my body. This is not like something I was born with, where some people, this is all they know. I had a whole life before this. Like I like to say, sometimes I'm grieving the person I once was. So it's like, I was able to walk up 5 flights of stairs, able to do whatever. I was playing softball when I was younger. So it's like, who would have thought? It's like, you never know what's going on in your body. But on the positive side, as time went on, I'm still dating, still on the dating websites. I'm not dating anybody now, still going out to bars and stuff with friends, vacationing. It just takes an extra step for me because now when I'm going out to, say, the bars or traveling, I have to make so sure that my room is like wheelchair accessible, meaning like I have to have the grab bars in the bathroom. I have to make sure it's a raised toilet seat. I have to make sure it's a roll-in shower so that way I can walk right in. Because if it's like a tub or something I have to step over, I can't do that. That's impossible. I would possibly try and I can fall all over, and then that's not going to be fun. Then I'm going to be totally and full of pain and aches. So it's just like special steps I have to do of just like, calling ahead, like, oh, can I get a wheelchair accessible room? And it's just something that has come the norm to me. So I've gotten used to it. And then I love from just my friends and family seeing what I have to do. They kind of take it upon themselves now to call in advance. So it's like, I don't even have to do that. So I appreciate, them for that. Like, oh, Keisha, I already called the restaurant. I told them like, you're in a wheelchair and they have an elevator, you're all set. So I'm like, I appreciate that because, that's just something I'm used to doing. So I appreciate that they take the effort to do that themselves. So it's just more extra things. And if a place has stairs, because, believe it or not, yes, I'm in America, in Massachusetts, but there are some places that are not wheelchair accessible out here where they may have stairs and things like that. And I'm like, well, then I can't do that because there's no way I can't walk up the stairs. It's like pretty much impossible now. Even on the holidays when we go to my sister's house for family functions or my aunts, thank goodness for my guy cousins because they lift me up the stairs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, if it wasn't for them, like I would not like pretty much be able to attend. Like they come and lift my butt up.
Yeah, I can imagine. And would you say like you've got a good support system?
Yes, I do. I have a great support system. I'm very grateful for my family and friends. And like I tell people all the time, I am so grateful for them. At the end of the day, they support me, but at the end of the day, they don't get it. Like I tell people, there's nothing like talking to somebody who understands and really gets what I'm going through on a regular basis. And that's someone with muscular dystrophy, someone that probably has lupus, someone with some kind of chronic illness, because that disability community, we get it. We know what it's like to have like our bodies fatigue and going to doctor's appointments, don't know what the body's going to do this day or that day. So when I've connected with people in the disability community on social media, it made me, feel like just somebody again. It made me feel like I wasn't alone. And that also helped me kind of come out of the denial phase because I'm like, wow, it's not just me. I have so many other people out there I connect with, people I've been meeting that have multiple sclerosis. And I'm just like, wow. So it's like they get it.
Wow. So that's so powerful, and the power of community, because a lot of times I think what makes things harder is feeling like you are alone. You're the only one that's going through it, and nobody else is. Nobody understands your pain. And the truth is, a lot of people don't understand your pain because they've not walked the walk. They're not in the shoes. But when you are in the shoes, it can feel very lonely until you now see somebody else, saying,
it's true.
It's not just you. I've got this as well. And this is how I'm, and then you suddenly form a new support now with understanding. I think that's so powerful.
Yes.
And Keisha, you went on to start your Girls Chronically clothing. For you, that was turning pain into purpose. And for a lot of people, that is often the hardest bit. How did you decide on Girls Chronically Girls Chronically Raw, your clothing line?
Yeah.
And what is it about? Tell me more. Tell us more.
Sure. So, as I mentioned, I went to undergraduate school for fashion design and merchandising. So I always knew I wanted to be like a fashion designer and just kind of own my own brand and be my own boss. So of course, coming out of denial, I thought, I'm a true believer in things happen for a reason. Let me start putting my dreams to use. Let me create something that I can help inspire and motivate others in the disability community. Because I love wearing like different graphics, like inspirational t-shirts that are like just meaningful for me. So I thought how I came up with the name is that I knew I wanted something with the word chronic in it, chronic illnesses, but I didn't know exactly how I wanted to incorporate it. So honestly, lying in bed one night and I thought, Girls Chronically Raw. I love the way it sounded. I love the way it flowed. And I just kind of ran with that. The next day, I just opened up the Etsy shop, started posting my t-shirts of the different quotes. And then as time went on, I was like, you know what? It's time for me to bump it up a bit, get more professional, maybe build my own website and, get like a graphic designer to help me with the actual logos of, get the vision that I want. So then that's when Girls Chronically Rock was formed. And I started that in 2017. But yeah, I love it. And it's kind of like, I look at it as Girls Chronically Rock movement because I'm looking at it. Yes, it's a clothing brand, but I created it to help inspire and motivate others in the disability community. And I would just love to create just so much more under the umbrella. Like I would love to create an adaptive, accessible clothing line for people with disabilities. Because what some people don't understand is people with disabilities, for us to get dressed on a regular basis, it takes some time. Just putting on our shirt at a time, putting on one leg at a time. It's a lot. I could possibly fall over, lose my balance. And that's with getting the help from a personal care attendant. So accessible clothing will be like more functional, like say magnetic snaps on the back of the shirt. So that way I can just put my arms right in, magnetic zippers or snaps on the pants. So it's easy for the person like, ourselves to button. And it just gives us more that independence of getting dressed on our own for not even needing maybe a personal care attendant. So that's my ultimate goal, is to come out with the Girls Chronically Rock adaptive clothing collection. But ultimately, I would love to get Girls Chronically Rock into department stores such as Macy's, Target, TJ Maxx. So I'm just like trying to pitch out to those stores and love to see it down in some fashion weeks and things like that. And to build Girls Chronically Rock into an empire. That's my goal. Yeah.
We're going.
Yes.
Wow. And you've been on, ABC Chronicle, you've been on Good Morning America and the likes. And I mean, like, for those who do not have a disability, and I think that's a thing that a lot of, when there's times where people think that, the disability is only physical, right? There are also mental disabilities, right? And in almost all cases, many people don't understand if they are not, if they themselves don't have something, or if someone they know or close to them is not experiencing any of those, either a physical disability or mental disability, or what do you say to other people to help them understand what it means to have a disability? What do you say to us, or those that don't have any disability, so that they get to understand it, or understand what it is that, the community is going through?
Yeah, so definitely having a disability definitely is its challenges. Another thing people, like I mentioned earlier, think that, we don't have no life. We're just at home and we're just sitting down or being lazy. And it's like, there's so many types of muscular dystrophy. It can affect some people can't even get out of bed some days, you know what I mean? And then there's some people that, like you mentioned, some people have a disability, but just looking at them, you will not know that. And I had that experience, as I mentioned, from even when I used to drive and park at handicapped spots. I used to get stared at from older people, younger people, like, why are you parking there? You're not old. And it's like, you never know someone's story. So that's what I realized as my journey went on. You never know someone's story. You don't know why this person may be parked at this handicapped spot. You don't know why this person may look young, but yes, they're in a wheelchair. Yes, they're walking with a walker. Obviously, it's for a reason. You never know. So don't just take it upon yourself like, oh, wow, why? What's wrong with you? Like, you look so young to be in a wheelchair walking with a cane. It's like as if we don't know that. Like, sometimes I get like as if I woke up one day and said, you know what, let me get that incurable disease. Let me get that muscular dystrophy. Let me get that. Thanks. It's like, no, we don't ask for this. This came out of nowhere. But yes, we have disabilities. That's what makes us, I feel, in my opinion, unique and different. But yes, we're still just like everybody else. Yes, we just may need special accommodations, but again, that's something that's out of our control. We need that. If we want to go, like, say, to a restaurant, go traveling, we just need like a wheelchair accessible room. So yes, we're just still like everybody else. We like to go out, have fun. We date. People in wheelchairs, yes, they are married with kids, so it's like, yes, that just makes us different. But, just don't say ignorant things for someone like you see with a cane or in a wheelchair. It's like, you never know what somebody's dealing with.
Yeah. And that's so powerful there. And I hear you talking about people being sensitive. That's what it comes down to. The fact that you don't understand doesn't mean that someone else is not in pain.
Right.
And you don't go running your mouth just any way without, thinking about how the words can impact on the other person. It's so true. So true. There are many people who are going through different pains. I know we've talked about, the case of physical disability, and we've also mentioned that there is people going through mental disability as well. There are people, but besides those, there are people who are going through pain for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
What advice do you give them to turn their pain into purpose? Because a lot of times we're stuck in the pain. What advice do you give to such people to help them move forward and find purpose through that pain?
I would definitely say, everybody deals with things differently. I would definitely say, it's more easier said than done. I know I've been there. And I would definitely say what helped me is definitely connecting with others that possibly maybe understand what you're going through. Because I think that definitely helps. Talking to somebody, as I always say, who gets it, they get it. It's like, there's nobody better to talk to than that. Yes, you get the support from others, and that's great. That's awesome. You know what I mean? But there's nothing like talking to somebody that may understand what you're going through. So, and I mean, thank goodness I say for social media today, because I would definitely recommend, there's so many different support groups for everything. Support groups for muscular dystrophy, lupus, or pain. They have support groups for people that just probably came out of a divorce and things like that. So there's so many. So you'll be surprised of just researching some groups on Facebook. You can probably reach a whole different amount of people just right there in itself. Another trick too I also found is hashtagging. When I first started hashtagging disability awareness, hashtagging chronic illness, hashtag muscular dystrophy, all of that, I've met so many people just by hashtagging and putting that in my social media. So I would definitely say reaching out to social media, and and you never know. Sometimes you might write a message, because I know at first I'm like, is this person going to respond? What are they going to think? And I, so far, everyone has just been very nice and kind, because just having that connection and knowing what they're dealing with and vice versa, it's like they get it. So I would definitely say, once you're ready and want to open up, and definitely go to that support group that understands and knows what you're going through, because that helps. Another, of course, fun thing about me that I love to do, I feel like makes me sane, is I love watching reality TV. So that's entertaining. I tell people whenever I have a sad day, or if I have a fall, me knowing I have some kind of entertainment show that I'm watching, it's I look forward to that. Whether it be Netflix, I watch show on VH1, Stars, you name it. I watch all the foolishness and everything.
What's your best one?
I watch Jersey Shore.
Oh.
And of course I watch
I don't watch much reality TV, so I'm totally lost.
Yeah, and then what about I watch Housewives of Atlanta. I love them. So yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah, so I love
when
them
I catch it. When I catch it.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, yep. So I watch all of them too. I'm just focused on my shows.
Nice. So pretty much find something to keep you happy.
Yes, I would definitely suggest that.
Wow, Brandy, I have so enjoyed speaking with you. This is really informative even for me, and I know for many people who as well who need to hear this. If people want to connect with you, or even contribute, or collaborate, or learn more about your community, how can people get in touch with you?
Sure, definitely. You can reach out to me on girlschronicallyrock.com. I am also on Instagram, girlschronically_rock. Same as Facebook, Girls Chronically Rock, and then under myself, Keisha Greaves. So you can definitely, reach out, send me an email. I definitely respond, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, and then, of course, check out my merchandise on Girls Chronically Rock. And I recently added some new stuff, Black Lives Matter. And another one I added was Black Disabled Lives Matter, because that's very important too. So definitely, please feel free. Check out my merchandise. I have kids, I have men's T-shirts, and check it out.
And guys, all the links will be in the description there. You just hit on something, because we're in an era where we are saying Black lives do matter. And just as you said, how do you put it again?
Black disabled lives matter.
Black disabled lives matter.
Yeah.
What do you want to say to people about that?
I would like to just say, here I am as African American woman and have a disability. So imagine for people with just disabilities alone have a challenge. People that were Black, we have a challenge. I mean, look at the world now, and we don't know what the cops are going to do, if we're going to be accepted. Who knows? It's kind of just scary opening the door. So here I am, have two things on my shoulder. I'm being Black and disabled. So I thought, this is my way, and this is how I actually express myself through my clothing line. So that's when I thought Black disabled lives matter. Yeah. So I definitely wanted to just point that out there. Yes, I'm a Black African woman, and I'm disabled in a wheelchair, and my life does matter as well. Here where I am, have to deal with this pandemic, with this corona. I don't know what's going to happen with that. So it's I'm just taking it day by day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Black lives matter.
Yes.
Black disabled lives matter too.
Yes.
Really, really powerful. And Keisha, many people's lives have been rocked. It's like their world has been turned suddenly upside down because of COVID-19. Now, I know you already had an instance where your life was turned upside down when you were diagnosed and had that sudden change. For a lot of people, the pandemic has changed their life, or is changing their life suddenly. As we begin to bounce back, as we begin to navigate the new change and whatever this new normal could be, should be, maybe, who knows? What is your one advice you will give to everyone who is struggling with a sudden change about how they can best move forward and find themselves again and find purpose?
I would definitely say I feel like what has helped me is trying to create new different ideas for my business. Because, of course, the business went slow before when the pandemic started, ending in February up until probably just early this month. So, that was tough. And so as we all know, it seems like masks are going to be the new fashion trend, and they're going to be something new that we have to wear. So I thought, why not create Girls Chronically Rock masks? So what I did is from my inventory that I have here of t-shirts, I thought, why not create some masks out of those t-shirts? So that's another thing I, created and added onto my Girls Chronically Rock line. So I would think just try to, if you have a business, maybe create other maybe unique different ideas of things maybe you didn't think of before, that what can help, during this time now, during this pandemic, and maybe do video, maybe start your YouTube channel that you always wanted to start, maybe start your podcast that you always wanted to start, and just talk about maybe your feelings and the rawness of what's going on now with the pandemic, and then also with the whole Black Lives Matter situation and the protesting and all of that, just use your voice, because people I notice love to hear that and hear your personal story. So just try to maybe think of something you always wanted to do but couldn't then, but now maybe is the time.
So somehow the COVID has given us an opportunity to do the things that we, have been saying we'll do but never did, and more so to find innovative ways around things.
Exactly.
Keisha, thank you so much. You have been such a fantastic guest, and so much value, guys.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, guys. We've come to the end of another episode again, and it's been so amazing, having Keisha on. Again, all her links are, in description. So please feel free to reach out and connect with her. And like I said, guys, if you're not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, if you're not already subscribed to the podcast, come on, you gotta hit that button right now. Subscribe. And if you're not already, following me on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, please do connect. I look forward to connecting. And even if it is just a line to even say to me, I think you should talk on this topic, I would love to hear that as well. It has been awesome. Thank you again, Keisha.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, indeed. And so guys, until next time, on the next episode, take care, stay well, and God bless.